Now, Britain's worst ever loss of life at sea. Not perhaps the Titanic, as you might presume, but the HMT Lancastria. She was a cruise liner sunk by German bombers whilst trying to evacuate British troops from France in 1940. Thousands died. The wartime government censoring the news for fear of its effect on morale. Survivors today presented a petition to Downing Street calling on the government to designate the whole wreck an official war grave, claiming it's been forgotten for decades. Nick Scott-Plummer reports.
No one knows how many people died when the Lancastria sank. The best estimate is around 4,000. Reg Brown was one of the lucky ones, rescued amongst a sea of bodies.
I was over the side, and as I got in the water, I had to move dead people out of the way so I can get by. And then I got into the oil. Then I was covered in oil. And the Germans started dropping flares to try and set fire to it. And then they tried to machine gun us about 25 yards, you know, in front of us.
Members of the Lancastria Association presented a petition to Downing Street this afternoon. They want the wreck, which lies in French waters, designated a maritime grave. At the time, fearing the nation's morale would suffer, Winston Churchill ordered news of the sinking suppressed. To survivors, this wartime horror has never received the official recognition it deserves.
450 passengers of the liner Lancastria get their biggest thrill of the trip.
In happier times, the Lancastria was a luxury cruise liner. But when war broke out, she served as a troop ship, first evacuating Allied forces from Norway, then when Dunkirk fell to the Nazis, steaming to the French port of Saint-Nazaire to help rescue some of the 150,000 British troops left behind. German bombers waited until the ship was full, as many as 7,000 crammed on board before launching their attack. An amateur photographer captured the aftermath, the ship sinking, bodies visible in the water.
It was terrible. I didn't know what to do. I just had to keep going, swimming. And after about 2.5 hours or so, we saw this boat coming. It was a French minesweeper. The minesweeper took us on board, pulled us in, and all I had was one sock and my vest.
The French government last year gave the wreck special protected status, but fears remain that it has been plundered by divers. The Lancastria Association say recognition as an official war grave by this government would act as further deterrent and as a small courtesy long deserved by the many who lost their lives.
The Lancastria